Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself in a room with someone who just drains the energy out of you? Someone who leaves you feeling exhausted, frustrated, or even questioning your own worth? We've all been there. Toxic people are everywhere, in our workplaces, our social circles, and sometimes even in our families. But here's the thing, smart people don't just survive toxic people. They thrive in spite of them. Today, I'm going to share with you how they do it. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll walk away with tools to protect your peace, elevate your mindset, and reclaim your power. Let's talk about boundaries. Not the kind you see on a map, but the invisible lines that define what you will and won't accept in your life. Smart people understand that boundaries are not just a luxury, they are a necessity. Toxic people have a way of creeping into your space, your mind, and even your heart if you let them. They thrive on overstepping, manipulating, and creating chaos. But here's the thing, smart people don't let them. They set boundaries, clear, firm, and unapologetic, and they stick to them. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't setting boundaries selfish? Won't people think I'm rude or cold? Let me stop you right there. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish. It's about self-respect. It's about saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace. Think about it. When you allow someone to disrespect you, to drain your energy, or to manipulate you, what are you really saying? You're saying that their needs, their drama, and their toxicity are more important than your well-being. And that, my friends, is not okay. Smart people know that boundaries are not walls to keep everyone out. They're gates to let the right people in. They understand that by setting boundaries, they're not pushing people away. They're creating a space where healthy relationships can thrive. For example, imagine you have a coworker who constantly dumps their problems on you, leaving you stressed and overwhelmed. A smart person would say, I'm here to support you, but I need to focus on my own work right now. It's not rude, it's respectful. It's saying, I care about you, but I also care about myself. But here's the hard part. Setting boundaries is easy. Sticking to them is where the real challenge lies. Toxic people don't like boundaries. They'll test them, push them, and try to break them down. They might guilt trip you, manipulate you, or even lash out when you enforce them. But smart people don't back down. They stand firm because they know that boundaries are meaningless if they're not enforced. Let me give you an example. Imagine you have a friend who always cancels plans at the last minute. It's frustrating, right? A smart person would address it head-on. They might say, I value our friendship, but it's really disappointing when you cancel plans without notice. If it happens again, I'll need to rethink how we make plans in the future. Notice how they're not attacking or blaming. They're simply stating their boundary and the consequence if it's crossed. And then, if it happens again, they follow through. They don't make empty threats, they take action. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about your own life. Are there areas where you need to set stronger boundaries? Maybe it's with a family member who always criticizes you, a partner who takes you for granted, or even a friend who constantly leans on you for emotional support without giving anything in return. Whatever it is, I want you to know this. You have the right to set boundaries. You have the right to say no. You have the right to protect your energy, your time, and your peace. And here's the beautiful part. When you set boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also teaching others how to treat you. You're showing them that you value yourself, and in turn, they'll learn to value you too. It's not about being harsh or unkind, it's about being clear and consistent. So from this day forward, I challenge you to set those boundaries. Start small if you need to. Maybe it's saying no to a request that doesn't align with your priorities. Maybe it's limiting your time with someone who drains your energy. Whatever it is, take that first step. Because here's the truth, you can't control how others behave, but you can control what you allow into your life. And when you set boundaries, you're taking back your power. You're saying, I am in control of my life and I choose peace. Remember, boundaries are not a sign of weakness. They're a sign of strength. They are a declaration that you know your worth and you refuse to settle for anything less. So set those boundaries, stick to them, and watch how your life transforms. Because when you protect your peace, you create space for joy, growth, and everything you truly deserve. Let's talk about something that can change the way you interact with the world: not taking things personally. This is one of the most powerful tools smart people use when dealing with toxic individuals. Toxic people have a way of making everything about them, and in the process, they often project their insecurities, frustrations, and negativity onto others. But here's the truth: their behavior is not about you, it's about them. And smart people understand this deeply. Imagine this. Someone snaps at you for no apparent reason. They criticize your work, your choices, or even your character. Your first instinct might be to react defensively, to internalize their words, or to wonder, what did I do wrong? But here's what smart people do differently. They pause. They take a step back and ask themselves, is this really about me? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Toxic behavior is almost always a reflection of the other person's inner struggles. Maybe they're dealing with stress, insecurity, or unresolved pain. Maybe they're projecting their own failures onto you because it's easier than facing their own shortcomings. Whatever the reason, their actions and words are rooted in their own issues, not yours. Smart people get this. They don't internalize the negativity because they know it's not theirs to carry. Now, I know this is easier said than done. We're human, and it's natural to feel hurt or offended when someone treats us poorly. But here's the thing. When you take things personally, you give away your power. You allow someone else's toxicity to dictate how you feel about yourself. And that, my friends, is a dangerous game. Smart people refuse to play it. They choose to protect their peace by not letting someone else's negativity define their self-worth. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're at work and a colleague constantly undermines your ideas in meetings. They interrupt you, dismiss your suggestions, and even make sarcastic comments. It's frustrating, right? But instead of taking it personally, a smart person would ask themselves, what's really going on here? Maybe that colleague is insecure about their own abilities. Maybe they're threatened by your talent, or maybe they're just having a bad day. Whatever the reason, it's not about you. And when you realize that, you free yourself from the emotional weight of their behavior. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you're walking down the street, and a stranger yells something rude at you. You don't know them, and they don't know you. Their words have nothing to do with who you are. They're a reflection of that person's state of mind. The same principle applies to toxic people in your life. Their words and actions are not a mirror of your worth. They're a window into their own struggles. But let's be real. Not taking things personally doesn't mean you ignore or excuse toxic behavior. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. What it means is that you don't let their behavior define how you see yourself. You don't let their negativity become your narrative. Instead, you choose to respond from a place of clarity and strength, not reactivity and emotion. So, how do you practice this in your own life? Start by shifting your perspective. When someone says or does something hurtful, remind yourself, this is not about me. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what might they be going through? This doesn't mean you have to forgive or condone their behavior. It simply means you're choosing not to let it affect your self-worth. Another powerful tool is to focus on what you can control. You can't control how others act, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to rise above the negativity, to respond with grace, and to protect your peace. And when you do that, you take back your power. Finally, surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. When you have a strong foundation of positive relationships, it's easier not to take the negativity of toxic people personally. You'll have a clearer perspective, a stronger sense of self, and the confidence to know that your worth is not determined by someone else's behavior. So, the next time someone tries to bring you down with their words or actions, remember this: their toxicity is not your burden to carry. Don't take it personally. Don't let it define you. Instead, stand tall in your worth, protect your peace, and choose to respond from a place of strength. Because you, my friend, are so much more than someone else's negativity. Let's talk about battles. Not the kind fought with swords and shields, but the everyday conflicts we face with toxic people. Whether it's a passive-aggressive comment, a manipulative tactic, or outright hostility, toxic individuals have a way of drawing us into their drama. But here's the thing: smart people don't engage in every fight. They don't waste their energy on battles that don't serve them. Instead, they choose their battles wisely. They ask themselves one critical question: is this worth my energy? And most of the time the answer is no. Why? Because smart people understand that not every fight is worth fighting. They know that engaging with toxic people often leads to more stress, more drama, and more wasted time. Toxic individuals thrive on conflict. They love to argue, to provoke, and to pull others into their chaos. But smart people refuse to play that game. They recognize that the best way to win a battle with a toxic person is often not to fight at all. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a meeting, and a colleague constantly interrupts you, dismisses your ideas, and tries to undermine your contributions. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue your point, or to call them out in front of everyone. But here's what a smart person would do. They'd take a step back and assess the situation. They'd ask themselves, is this battle worth my energy? Will engaging with this person actually lead to a positive outcome, or will it just create more tension and drama? If the answer is no, they'd let it go. They'd focus on their own goals, their own work, and their own peace of mind. Now, I'm not saying you should never stand up for yourself. There are times when it's important to assert yourself, to set boundaries, and to defend your worth. But smart people know the difference between a battle that matters and one that doesn't. They understand that not every slight requires a response. Not every criticism deserves a rebuttal, and not every argument is worth having. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you're walking through a forest and you come across a muddy puddle. You could step in it, struggle to get out, and end up covered in mud. Or you could simply walk around it and continue on your path. Toxic people are like those muddy puddles. Engaging with them is like stepping into the mud. It's messy, exhausting, and ultimately unnecessary. Smart people choose to walk around the puddle. They save their energy for the journey ahead. But how do you know which battles are worth fighting? Here's a simple rule of thumb. If the outcome will significantly impact your life, your goals, or your well-being, it's worth fighting for. If it's just about ego, pride, or proving a point, it's probably not. Smart people focus on what truly matters. They don't get caught up in petty arguments or pointless conflicts. They keep their eyes on the bigger picture. Let me give you another example. Imagine you're in a relationship with someone who constantly picks fights over trivial things, like how you load the dishwasher or what TV show to watch. A smart person wouldn't engage in every argument. They'd ask themselves, is this worth my energy? Is this really about the dishwasher, or is there something deeper going on? If it's just about the dishwasher, they'd let it go. But if it's part of a larger pattern of disrespect or control, they'd address the underlying issue. The key is to be intentional about where you invest your energy. Every time you engage in a battle, you're giving away a piece of your peace, your time, and your focus. Smart people protect those things fiercely. They know that their energy is a precious resource, and they refuse to waste it on battles that don't serve them. So, the next time you find yourself in a conflict with a toxic person, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, is this battle worth my energy? If the answer is no, let it go. Walk around the puddle. Save your energy for the battles that truly matter. Because when you choose your battles wisely, you're not running away from conflict, you're choosing your victory. Remember, life is too short to waste on unnecessary drama. Protect your peace, focus on what truly matters, and choose your battles wisely, because when you do, you'll find that you have more energy, more clarity, and more joy to pour into the things that truly matter. Let's talk about your environment, the people, the energy, and the influences that shape your daily life. Smart people understand something profound. You become like the people you surround yourself with. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it's going to weigh you down. But if you surround yourself with positivity, you'll rise. It's that simple. And when it comes to dealing with toxic people, smart people don't just avoid them. They actively seek out positive, uplifting, and supportive relationships. They create a circle of light that drowns out the darkness. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how being around a negative person can drain your energy, while being around a positive person can lift your spirits? It's not just in your head, it's science. Emotions are contagious. When you're around someone who's constantly complaining, criticizing, or creating drama, it's easy to absorb that negativity. But when you're around someone who's optimistic, encouraging, and kind, it's like a breath of fresh air. Smart people know this, and they intentionally curate their inner circle to reflect the kind of energy they want in their lives. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if the toxic person is a family member, a coworker, or someone I can't just cut out of my life? I get it. We don't always have the luxury of completely removing toxic people from our lives. But here's the thing. Even if you can't eliminate the negativity, you can balance it out by surrounding yourself with positivity. It's like adding light to a dark room. The more light you bring in, the less the darkness can take over. Let me give you an example. Imagine you have a coworker who's always negative. They complain about everything, gossip about others, and generally bring down the mood of the office. You can't avoid them completely, but you can counteract their energy by spending more time with colleagues who are positive and supportive. You can seek out the people who inspire you, who make you laugh, and who remind you why you love your job. By doing this, you're not just surviving the negativity, you're thriving in spite of it. Here's another way to think about it. Your inner circle is like your personal board of directors. These are the people who influence your decisions, your mindset, and your overall well-being. Smart people are very intentional about who they allow on their board. They don't just let anyone in, they choose people who add value to their lives. They surround themselves with individuals who challenge them to grow, who support them through tough times, and who celebrate their successes. But how do you build this kind of circle? It starts with awareness. Take a look at the people you spend the most time with. Are they adding value to your life, or are they draining your energy? Are they lifting you up, or are they pulling you down? If you find that certain relationships are more toxic than positive, it might be time to create some distance. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life entirely unless that's necessary, but it does mean setting boundaries and prioritizing the relationships that nourish your soul. Next, seek out positive influences. Join groups, communities, or organizations that align with your values and interests. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you to be your best self, and who radiate positivity. And don't forget to be that positive influence for others. Positivity is a two-way street. When you give it, you're more likely to receive it in return. Finally, remember that positivity starts within you. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you show up in the world. Choose to be the kind of person who radiates kindness, optimism, and encouragement. When you do, you'll naturally attract people who reflect that energy back to you. So from this day forward, I challenge you to take a good hard look at your inner circle. Are they adding light to your life, or are they casting shadows? If it's the latter, it's time to make some changes. Surround yourself with positivity. Seek out the people who inspire you, who lift you up, and who remind you of your worth. Because when you do, you'll find that the toxic people in your life have less power over you. Your negativity won't stick because you'll be too busy basking in the light of your positive circle. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with positivity and watch how your life transforms. Because when you're surrounded by light, the darkness can't touch you. Now let me leave you with this. Dealing with toxic people isn't about changing them. It's about protecting yourself. It's about knowing your worth, standing your ground, and refusing to let anyone dim your light. You have the power to choose how you respond, who you allow into your life, and where you invest your energy. So from this day forward, I challenge you to be smart. Set those boundaries. Don't take it personally. Choose your battles and surround yourself with positivity, because you, my friend, deserve a life filled with peace, joy, and purpose. And no toxic person should ever take that away from you. Thank you.